Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Talon, and this is my buddy Jason, and welcome to another episode of Dad Debate. This week, we got a couple controversial topics. Jason, are you ready? I'll just jump right into it.
Dude, come on, bro.
All right, so topic number one is something that I'm going through currently. I know that a lot of parents have gone through it at some point in their life, and that is naming your child. So would love to hear your kind of personal story on, and the question really is, how did you come up with the name of your child? Do you allow other friends and family to kind of influence whether you should name your child one way or the other? Just kind of the whole idea of naming your child is kind of a very controversial topic. So would love to hear your idea.
So the question that we're going to debate on is, do you agree that, or do we allow outside influences impact the picking up our name?
Great way to frame it. Yep.
And so at first, when we having Delilah, we had, a lot of people's opinions, coming in. We had multiple different names, and it's funny because people always correlate the name with somebody they knew or somebody that they had an impact. And it's like, no matter what name you come up with, it seems like there's going to be a negative connotation. It seems like everybody's had a bad experience with somebody with some name.
Everyone's not like, oh, I had a bully in middle school named that. And you're like, shut up. Like,
yeah, no. So
why'd you?
It definitely, I'm not gonna lie. It definitely kind of it definitely gives you, it makes you second guess a bunch, but we actually had to come to terms and agreement. Like, look, everybody's going to have their own opinion on everything. It's like, what does the name mean to us? What does it stand for? And why do we want to name our daughter or son this? And when it came to, picking Delilah, it was a name that we, for us, is that it was just something that it's not a common name. We don't know anybody with the kid named Delilah. We don't know anybody that has, we actually don't have any friends by the name of Delilah. So I
just know the Plain White Tee song. Hey there, Delilah. But I love that song.
It's a great song, but it's, I think it's about like breakups and stuff, but I don't know.
It's still a great song.
Still a good song, but we did not, base off anything else. So we were influenced to the point where we're like, we don't want to be influenced anymore. So it did not, we were not pressured or influenced by other individuals to pick her name. It did weigh on us, but it was something that we agreed upon. And then, for her middle name, Ashley's dad actually passed away and his middle name was Ray. And so Delilah Ray Wahler. So, there was some significant meaning behind her middle name. And our first name is just, we came up with a list of names that really stood out to us. So we did a lot of
like baby list, like Google, like list.
We went on lists. We went on names in general. I actually searched all sorts of stuff, but we came up with I think our top 10, and then we both kind of narrowed it down to our top 5 if it was a boy or a girl, and then we ended up selecting from there.
And did you guys? Because I know naming is like a super fun, exciting thing to do. Did you guys come up with the name like a month before she was born, or was it like 8 months before she was born?
Started looking at names when when Ashley was probably 3 months pregnant, would be my guess. And we started doing the research and stuff, and then we actually selected the name. Obviously, after we found out it was a girl, we kind of honed in about 8 months during her pregnancy.
Yeah, so my situation, basically, it was like one of those things where you go on the internet and you're looking at like babylist.com or whatever. I don't even know what the name of the sites are. And you're just kind of like trying to find inspiration. I wanted an Italian name, which is why my son's middle name is Leonardo. But I wanted a first name that was Italian. My wife didn't so much. We wanted a name that sounded good with Torriero, and Torriero is just such a crazy Italian name. It's kind of hard to find something that sounds good, like Brad Torriero. Yeah, it probably sounds good, but it's like, it was kind of hard to, I don't know, just for some reason, it's a hard name.
You wanted it to flow.
I wanted it to flow. Yeah. And I think that's based on kind of like the syllables, right? It's like Torriero. I don't know. Leonardo Torriero. So basically, the name itself came, I think, from my wife in LA. There was a street called Bronson. If I'm correct, I don't remember exactly. She came up with it, and it was something that I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. I said, he's either going to be like a middle linebacker or a hipster. Because I actually believe you kind of become your name in a weird way. If you think about a lot of our friends, that their names and what kind of who they are, you're like, dude, Cedric's such a Cedric, right? Like, Jason's such an athletic guy name. Like Talon's such a good looking, like great jawline name. You know what I mean? It's like, it's crazy how it's great. Actually, zero jawline. But the point is that, like, you know, I think one thing that was really difficult is we actually had other names, and I wish I could remember what they were before Bronson, but people are like, you know, like my mother-in-law or my mom or my friends would be like, I don't like that name because I had a bully in high school, or I don't like that name because I had a manager at my old job that was a jerk and his name was that. And you're like, well, shoot. Okay. Everyone's got something to say about every single name. And I think it's a lot of parents run into that. And I think there's also a lot of pressure these days for us millennials to come up with names that are like so unique, right? Like air and apple and like pine
West,
tree.
south,
You know,
north, east.
yeah, it's like, you know, your kid's name is like Kale. Like it's crazy, right? Like actually, I think there are kids named Kale, like being named Kale, I swear. And that, not that that's not a bad name. I mean, you know, maybe it means something in another dialect or like another, I don't know, maybe dialect's not the right word, but in another language, right? But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that there's so much pressure to come up with something unique. And I just think at the end of the day, the key is to find a name like for you and for me, it's finding a name that you guys both, you and your wife both agree upon. I think for our next child, our daughter, we're really not telling anyone the name because we kind of, not that we want to make it a surprise for everyone. It's more that I don't want to hear from somebody that the name is like they're, you know, what they have some negative connotation on the name.
So were you, so simply put, is were you influenced on your son's name?
I was. I was. And I wish I could remember what the original names were. But yeah, we were influenced on the original names. People had in our immediate family had problems with because of the past or someone they knew or whatever it was. So this time around, we've told our immediate family, but we're not telling friends because like, it's not that we're trying to like be secret and have this reveal. It's more like, hey, we don't want someone to tell us that they have a friend, whatever. We don't want to be influenced. You know, we want to have a name that we like because here's the reality. Like, you know, we were going to name this is an example. We were going to name our daughter Florence, right? And everyone's like, well, that's like Flo from Progressive, right? So everyone's going to call her Flo. And you know, that's true, right? But then I thought to myself, well, in 20 years from now, when she's like in college, which is when like you know, you're under some scrutiny or, you know, you're trying to like find yourself in the world and you're kind of an official adult, Flo isn't going to be around. No one's even going to know who Flo is or Flo Ida or anything, right? So it's like, yeah, to us, it's kind of a thing, but one day it's not, right?
Talon, I'm actually blown away that you guys were influenced on the picking of your son's name. Whereas Ashley and I were at first, but we set a boundary and we were not influenced on the selecting of our daughter's name. So we're both in different spots here.
Yeah, I would say that, was I easily influenced? Yes. Jason, were you easily influenced? Nope. All right, topic number 2. Jason, hit me with the best you got.
Number 2, Talon. Topic number 2 is something that is, you know, it's actually super important, I think, to talk about. I mean, because unfortunately, there's a lot of kids that get killed this way, is through drowning, right? And so the next question is around swimming and swimming lessons in general. So do you believe your son or daughter should have swimming lessons and, you know, learn how to swim by the age of 2?
Gotcha. Yeah. So like, this is an interesting one because I think like as parents, we have put a lot of pressure on ourselves to watch our kid ride bikes or swim or whatever it is. And we don't realize how young our children are like to do these things. Right. And maybe that's not relative to the question you're asking because I think kids should learn the basics of swimming at a young age. Like, for example, we went to Kauai about a year and a half ago. And so what we did was we put our son in like a 6-week not intensive, but like, you know, twice a week swimming program where I got in the pool with him. And basically, you know, they just teach him. What was interesting about the class, they didn't teach him how to swim. They taught him how, if he falls in the pool, how to hold his breath underwater, how to swim, kind of find his way to the side of the pool, hold the railing of the side, and then walk across the railings and even get up. Because, you know, children at that age don't have really the muscles in their shoulders and their chest to pull themselves up. So they're teaching them how to like put their elbow up and then lift their leg and then use their leg muscles to pull up. And I found it so fascinating. You know, like you see those videos that are like in my opinion, kind of horrifying to watch, but I understand why they do it. Where they throw like, 6-month-old babies in the pool. Have you seen those videos where like they throw a 6-month-old in the pool and it like drops to the bottom and comes up and turns and floats?
No.
They teach babies now. You got to watch it. And this is not like some weird thing that happens in some other country. Like this happens here where they're teaching babies now at such a young age that if they fall in the pool, how to like come up and turn. I'm talking like 6-month-old like babies. It's
Jeez,
wild,
dude. I need to check that out. That's crazy.
Yeah. And so like, I mean, here's the thing. So after that, okay, the swimming lessons, we went to Kauai, we went in the pool. It was awesome. I could throw my son in the air. He could fall in the pool. And I knew he was going to be okay, holding his breath, this and that. Not like swallowing too much water. I felt a little bit safer, I would say, more confident. Of course, we kept our eye on him at all times, but we just felt a little bit more confident about it. When we got back, we dropped the swimming lessons. We stopped. And that was a huge mistake. I'm really upset that I did that. And not because it was by choice. I just didn't think to continue.
Right.
And I wish I would have kept consistently going to swim lessons because, we go to the pool now. It's summer in Nebraska. It's super hot. We go to my wife's grandma's pool probably like once every like couple weeks. And, now my son wears these floaties, right, with like the chest plate and the sides. And it's interesting because like I understand the safety of that. But there's like a lot of, like our swim instructor, for example, is super against the floaties.
Why?
Because what she said was it teaches your kids to rely on the flotation device and not actually learn how to swim. So in the event that they fall in the pool, they're most likely not going to have a floaty on. So what she says is that it delays the progress of learning to swim substantially.
I would agree with that.
So like, it's my wife's grandma's pool. So we make sure to like, she has a rule that the kids have to wear them. But like, if I'm in a pool where Bronson doesn't have to wear them, I'll have him wear them, but I'll make sure to take times to take it off to kind of like get some practice in without the floaties. Right.
Funny you say that though, because we actually have the same exact floaty. We have that. We actually thought it would be smart to have that because she'd be able to utilize that. We could show her how to kick with it. We could show her how to do, different types of stroke. We call it the sunshine, where she does a stroke and she kicks. And she actually doesn't like it. She doesn't like the floaty. She likes it off. So going back to the original question is, I definitely think making your son or daughter familiar with the water, like, I mean, obviously they take baths, they do the shower thing, but like we introduced the water to Delilah at a super young age. And at first she loved it, and then she didn't like it, and then she loves it now. You know what I mean? But it was just the introduction to it and showing her, the pool. I mean, we're at the beach here. Our families have pool. A lot of our family members have pools, and it's something where we wanted to make sure she was comfortable. So I definitely think the introduction to the water at a young age and getting them comfortable is huge. We actually never did a course like what you were saying. I actually am very stoked that you brought that up because I think it doesn't matter at what age, if you haven't done it, I think it's important that they should do that. Delilah's got a lot of the fundamentals down. I mean, she's 3. I know I asked the question if they should have swim lessons by there 2. I think it's more of the introduction course, like you were bringing up by 2. At 3, at 2, they don't.
I think there's. I'm only interjecting here because I think there's like, the reality is like you can do swim lessons on your own as a parent. I'm actually happy that we chose the lesson route, and the only reason why we did was because it was the middle of winter in Nebraska, and the only pools that were available were at swim place like lessons because they're indoors, right? Like Nebraska's adapted to the fact to be winter. We have a lot of drive-through restaurants because no one wants to get out of their car because it's freezing, and in the swim lesson places, all the pools are inside. So we kind of went not because we wanted to do a course, but because we were kind of forced to. But with that being said, I was so impressed that they were teaching our Bronson preventative measures and not even teaching him how to swim. And I found that really fascinating.
Yeah, so I think in reframing the question is, do you believe you should do an introduction class or course and or swim lessons, to your son or daughter by the age of 2? And I fully say yes.
I do too. I think it's something that I dropped the ball on. Like I said, I wish I would have continued them. But, it's a very important life skill, like you said, especially for you, like you live by the beach and the ocean and the currents and the waves. That's a whole nother thing she's going to learn, like got to learn all that stuff. So
Yeah, no, it's a good topic. I think it's important. We'd love to hear what you guys have to say around either or, with the name selecting. Obviously, Talon having a kid, I'm wanting to have more kids in my life, so I'd love to hear your guys' perspective on selecting a name, and also your perspective on swim lessons or just preventative measures that you could take. But like, comment, leave us a message below. Let us know topics that you want to hear, and we'll be back to debate. So I think.
Next week. Yeah, Jason, it was a good one, man. I'm super stoked. Make sure to subscribe, and we'll talk to you guys. See you, buddy.